Those Terran players need not worry. I mean, they may lose at StarCraft all the time, but I hear they're pretty good at commentating games.
Ouch. Alright, so Intrigue was asking a question, but I think he just stopped halfway through, so we'll just continue as if he hadn't asked a question. Now he's
Let's see,
repeating what he
this
said
is
before.
Canido and Infinity 21.
Yeah, Infinity 21 is a Korean translator at Team Liquid. Well, Canadian Korean player. He's he's playing Terran against Zerg on Python again, but cross positions this time. So I guess that would affect your advice to him.
Well, this is a long way to run, so in these positions, I'd say it's harder for Terran to win, because if you go for a timing attack, you're going to be later than usual. If you're going to use your Marines to, put pressure on him, you're going to be later than usual. So it's a little bit harder for Terran, but I think even on these positions, it's still a good map for Terran. It's easy to get map control in the late game, so I guess we'll see what happens here.
I'll just set up what he wrote in the post that he was having difficulties with. He says, both of us made a lot of stupid moves, but he kept cutting my scouting SCV, so I didn't know that he had 12 o'clock, expansion, and natural. After I won the central battle around 1630, I stood there for a while and didn't go to cut expansions. When I decided to do it, I lost a lot of Marines to lurkers due to sloppy micro. What is a good one barracks fast expansion build to use up the point of your first little push with medics and firebats? People tell me to build one barracks at expansion at X supply, but it doesn't really tell me when to build the refinery and academy. I know timings depend on what the Zerg does, but can you tell me a build order to face a standard Zerg? Help!
Okay, well, I'll come to the rescue here and say that he can just make one barrack and one command center every single game, and then I'm not sure what to say about getting a refinery. It is a pretty normal, like standard timing that is the same every game. You either get it before your third depot, or you get it after your third depot, and it's just like you get your academy, you use your first scout ACV to see if he's going mass speedlings or only few lings or 3 hatch or 2 hatch. If he goes 2 hatch with the gas, then you know speedlings are coming. And what you could do is make a bunker and hotkey your SCVs at your expansion and pull all of those to block off the links as soon as he moves in. If he goes 3 hatch, then going 3 depot gas and then academy should be good enough timing for you to get firebats and medics to stop a 3 hatch speedling attack. And pretty much as soon as you get 1-2 firebats, 1-2 medics, and you have enough at your base that may defend like a 8 or 10 link counter attack, it's pretty much a good time to move out. And at this point, you can scout for a third base of Zerg before their spire finishes, and you can use your first 8 Marines, 1 firebat medic to cancel this hatch, and then run back to your base, or just leave your Marines at this expansion spot after the mutas are done.
Do you like how he's dealt with the pull first build? He's only really made a couple Marines and then he's going straight into expansion. Is that something you would do, especially making 2 barracks?
Well, I would go 1 barracks because that's my standard build, but yeah, after I scout the early pool, I would yeah, put some SCVs on my ramp and hold it with a few Marines and just try to expand as fast as possible and just get a second Rex and Academy and just expand and play normally. He kind of lost his SCV too early. It's like a shame because Zerg can do many things after opening with Lings. They can go add gas and go all in speedling, or they can go 3 hatch or 2 hatch, and it's really important you keep your scout SCV alive to see their actions, because if they do go like mass speedling, you need firebats before you're gonna like move out to your expansion. So it's important you see.
Okay, so we're getting racist comments by Jared. We'll just move on past that, pretend that didn't happen. Uh, now I've completely lost my train of thought. I just wanna know, how do you know when to make your academy? I see a lot of different builds from people. Some people expand and then make their academy off one barracks, while some people uh, are kind of waiting till they have three barracks making and then move on to their academy. So, what's your personal opinion on that?
Yeah, I always make it after one barracks when I get my gas, because I want to be safe and I want to have firebats in case they mass beetling and I didn't scout it. But going 3 barracks academy will give you more marines and will probably make your push against his third base stronger against his mutalisks. So it's a little bit of a risk, but I think in the end, if you're gonna academy after three barrack, you gotta go 4 barrack and you gotta go all out marine medic early pressure, because otherwise you'll have your gas too late. And a timing attack from that point on with tank vessel is gonna be a lot slower because of later gas. It's riskier, but it could pay off if Zerg doesn't go speedlings. But I prefer playing safe.
Okay, another question Infinity had was, how do you scout for expansions when Zerg has mutalisks out cutting down your SCVs? He says he feels like he's wasting scans looking for expansions.
Yeah, basically if he has mutas out and you don't have the marine power to push his mutas back, there's nothing you can do. You can't scout. You play these maps many times. You know where Zerg is most likely to expand. It's just something that, you know, happens so many times to you that you kind of expect it. And then when you're pushing out with your marines, you try to sneak in SCVs and scout the map for like weird places. But you have to have your marines out and make him move his mutas back and be busy with your marines. And that's when you can scout. You can't scout if you don't have the pressure.
Okay, so we got a question from Intrigue. You know that Zerg vs Terran build with fast +1 carapace on Zerglings? And it's basically fast 3 gas, mass mutas, and then ultras. I think we see Quanro doing this in the pro scene quite a bit. Yeah, but this is the longest fucking question ever, dude. Do you have a point? What's the best way to deal with that?
I think the best way would be to, you know, if you see that that strategy, you gotta make many firebats because they're gonna have many lanes. So you gotta have the firebats and then just try to like. It's a very hard strategy to deal with if played right. Right? You gotta have enough firebats and try to kill his army. Try to put pressure on his expand while you expand more yourself and get up to like 9 racks is really fast with double engineering bays, and just go for an assload of marines medics that are well upgraded with vessels, and just try to keep his ultras irradiated and don't let him get more expansions, and just get a massive army of marines medics that are well upgraded. That's the best way, I think. If you go tanks, you can go mass tanks, but I don't like it against many speedlings ultras because the links get on the tanks and they damage themselves and the ultras get close. I like much better playing with marine medic firebat against this strategy, because you can move your medics in front, have firebats in between to deal with the lings, and fight ultras better that way. You can also, like, if you go 2 port, you can try to get 2 dropships and drop his main base and try to harass him with drops. That often works.
So, Rage has, okay, so play it more passively, and Rhett is saying yes.
Yes, I play more passively. I just keep my force together and try to engage his Mutaling army in the middle if possible, but I wouldn't push for his third gas because he can make 2 sunkens there and you can attack and lose everything. It's just about, you know, keeping him on his toes and just macroing like a monster. It's the only way, really. You gotta have a massive army, you gotta have a second expansion, and you gotta have extremely good upgrades.
Rage had a question about when Zerg actually just guesses that Terran is going to fast expand and puts his third hatchery at the third gas, and then kind of makes quite a few mutalisks to secure that, and Zerglings to stop you from pushing out early. I guess, have you dealt with that, and how do you deal with that?
Sorry, can you say again?
There's a Zerg build. It's especially strong on Longinus, where Zerg puts his third hatchery actually at the third expansion, and then makes 4 hatcheries and quite a few Zerglings to stop an early Terran push. How do you deal with that?
Yeah, I think that's the same strategy, somewhat what Intrigue was talking about. It's if they do that and go all out mutaling, you gotta play somewhat passively and keep your medics and marines together and never get catched off guard and just hope to have a good positioning against his mutas and lings and try to win that way and make plenty of firebats. I really often see Terrans make the mistake of just not adding firebats to their army. They are a huge help against masses of Zerglings. But we haven't really talked much about this replay yet.
Yeah, I was just gonna try to steer us back onto it. What do you think about Infinity's build here? He's got 7 barracks making, and he's playing quite passively. I don't know if this is standard as Terran, or maybe you can fill us in.
Well, he's obviously missing just like some basic skills like, you know, being fast and having good control and perfect macro, but his idea here is okay. I mean, he's trying to get his macro kicking in. He's got 7 Raxes, he's got a port. He should be making a big army right now and pressure Zerg before he gets the Defilers and, you know, make a push on his expansion. The idea he has right now is okay. He just misses some basic important skills like macro skills and uh, sending his SUVs back to his minerals because he's got like 10 idle SUVs. Just standard stuff like that. But he should be pushing out right now because Zerg has the third gas and no defilers yet, so he should be making a push, which he seems to be doing right now.
Yeah, he said he has a lot of trouble balancing between Terran macro and micro. He actually asked which one is more important if it comes to the time that he has to pick between them.
I think that macro is far more important than micro because macro is just like it's like the red line in every game, if that's even an English expression, but you just need to have enough units to be able to deal with the Zerg army, and you can have really cute micro and, you know, kill some units more than you shouldn't have, but it doesn't really help you. You just gotta learn how to build up a massive army and have enough units to deal with Zerg is gonna send at you. And if you practice your macro and it becomes like a natural thing to you, you'll start, you know, doing it every game. You won't have to think about it anymore, and that's when you can really start focusing on improving your micro. I definitely think macro is far more important. And what we see here is Terran is just standing in the middle, you know, not really doing anything, and Zerg has his Ultra Den going up and 3 gas. He's not really threatened at all, and Terran is just way too passive. He should have been moving towards the natural or moving towards the third base and, you know, trying to do damage. And he could even just like stay like this, but if he's gonna do nothing, he has to take a third base because otherwise he's just not gonna be able to keep up.
Yeah, that army has literally been in the middle, you know, doing nothing the entire game. And every time I look at these barracks, they're not blinking. So, I mean, those...
Yeah, and he has 2k minerals and he's missing supply depots and he's busy with 8 mutas on an island expansion while Zerg is getting resources and getting his ultra cavern, so there's really not something you can be doing. You gotta expand, you gotta drop ship, or you gotta just push, you gotta pressure. You can't just let Zerg, you know, make that ultra den and just waste all their money and all their gas and just get too many ultras through the handle.
A lot of weaker players also get distracted with just basically meaningless things, as you said. It's like you gotta know when to just let things go and focus on the main problem at hand. And then Zerg seems to be doing that really well, but I think Infinity is having a problem doing that.
Yeah, I'm playing games sometimes and things happen to me, like I get attacked by lings or attacked by mutas and I'm dealing with it, and I think to myself, okay, we can't be doing this shit right now. You gotta push for his base, you gotta kill some units, you gotta do some damage, because otherwise you're gonna be fucked in about 5 minutes. So I just think like, okay, fuck this, and I just move out and I gotta do it. And that's just how you gotta play in TVZ. It's just, you can't just let yourself be stalled and delayed and pushed back and time being wasted, because then Zerg is just gonna overpower you eventually.
Do you actually think to yourself like that? Like talk to yourself when you're playing?
When I'm playing, yeah, I may be weird, but I do think that to myself.
Yeah, dude, I actually do that too. And I think it's really weird, but I do it as well.
It's okay, it's nothing to be ashamed of.
I think Terran's showing some good micro here, but again, like you're saying, he doesn't really know where to go. He's been in the middle of the map.
He's killing a few units. He's not expanding, he's not dropping, he's just sitting there and wasting time, you know. I mean, it's... You're not gonna kill a Zerg this way.
What do you think of this transition of 3 factory vultures to deal with the inevitable threat of ultralisks?
I think 3 factories is a little bit too much. However, 2 factory vulture is something that can be very strong. You can move your units across the middle and take some expansions while you plant mines in front of their main and in front of their other main expansion. And you can just build up a maxed out army and eventually just roll them over. So it's a decent choice. 3 factories is a little bit too much, although he can afford it because he has 3k minerals and 2k gas. But if you spend properly, I don't think you can support 3 factory.
But I mean, say you realize your macro is slipping, it's alright to kind of move on to 3 factories as a weaker player?
I would say no. You should, as a weaker player, you're better off just, you know, getting the right amount of production facilities and just trying to spend it every single game. Don't even worry about winning or losing, just try to spend your minerals properly and learn how to macro properly. It will get you further than just like putting down 6 stacks and making 12 tanks. Well, you should have been having like way more units like 10 minutes earlier in the game. I guess if you're concerned for a tournament game and you really want to win a game, you can consider getting more barracks or more factories than what is actually necessary, because it'll help you play better, but as a way of practice, I don't think it's the right thing to do.
Okay, so now I'm wondering which base as a Terran should I be going for? I mean, is the island an option? Should I be going for top left? Do you ever take the mineral only?
All 3 of those are actually an option. I usually try to secure corner first. You know, I moved some marines there, built some bunkers, and while I move my army around the map. And you know, as the game gets longer, I need a 4th base or a 5th base. Mineral only and island are both good options. The island being especially good because Zerg will be going mutaling, lurker, defiler, and they won't research drop, so there's not much they can do about that, so it's a pretty safe expansion. But I would usually go for corner first.
So Intrigue is asking, do you ever think it's worth it to get tank upgrades in Terran vs. Zerg?
If you go for the tank counter, you're gonna go like 3 factory tanks, or 2 factory tanks even, against ultras, and that's how you want to beat them, then getting weapon upgrades for tanks is extremely effective. However, I prefer like the mass vessel and irradiate and just have loads of marines and medics away. But if you do go tanks, it's so good. And right now we see Terran doing really bad, like, so you should work on that too. But macro first.
I mean, a common theme we're really seeing between a lot of these players asking for help is that the casters keep asking if the replay is broken, and I was about to ask that. So I mean, it's just looking around, everything seems to be idle. So, and Infinity has a lot of APM, so he really needs to be focusing on getting stuff done with his APM, I think.
Yeah, I don't think APM is everything. It's, you can see players have extremely high APM and just not be effective in game. You gotta make those movements count, and you gotta do all the right movements and not waste any clicks, and just make your play a lot faster and smoother. But the macro is really off. If APM was everything, then you wouldn't see like all these players who had 100 before. Um, BW chart go to like 300 after just by spamming clicks.
Interesting. I've never heard that APM isn't everything before.
Well, you heard it here first. It's true. I don't lie about these sort of things.
I mean, not much to say here. Infinity is just too far behind at this point, getting crushed by ultras.
Yeah, Zerg has way too much gas, and I think all the media Terrans would agree with me that ultras are a very, very imbalanced unit, so it's pretty much screwed right now. He just made the mistake of not pressuring enough and letting Zerg get this big and just having nothing to put against it. He doesn't have expansions, he doesn't have a huge army. All he has is lots of minerals, lots of gas in the back, and he just hasn't been spending land.
But that interest, man. Once that interest starts kicking in.